It's time once again for the 13 days of Are You Afraid of the Dark? This one starts with Stacy, a girl who suffers from what a lot of main characters in Are You Afraid of the Dark suffer from, being the new kid in town. I swear that every other story has some kind of variation of a kid being new and all alone. Anyway, Stacy is the new kid, so she doesn't know too many people, except for the angry foreign landlord that's way too preoccupied with parking spaces. Other than that, she's always catching glimpses of an old neighbor lady watching her from apartment 214. After some snooping, Stacy finds that the mysterious lady is just an old shut-in named Madeline, and a friendly old shut-in at that. They quickly become friends, doing things like getting Madeline groceries, drinking tea, and looking at weird old paintings. After a while, they get real close, so Madeline asks for a favor from her. She just wants Stacy to visit and sit with her on a very important day that's fast approaching, a day on which Madeline doesn't like to be alone. But it turns out that Stacy's other friend Angela, the one that was born in the 20th century, has tickets to a really kick-ass battle of the bands on the same night. What to do? Loud popular music surrounded by a sea of viciously hormonal teenagers, or a riveting night of watching a Murder, She Wrote marathon? It's a no-brainer. Only after returning from the concert does Stacy remember her promise, mostly because she can hear Madeline weeping all alone in her apartment. Stacy sees that Madeline is just sitting in the dark because, hey, if you already have cataracts, then what's the point of wasting electricity? But understandably, Madeline is a little miffed that she was stood up, until Stacy turns the light on and Madeline, along with her furniture, scatters faster than a plague of cockroaches. As you can imagine, this kind of thing would freak anyone out, so Stacy runs home and right to her mom, who doesn't believe her. So it's time to get to the bottom of this whole mess, and what better place to start but with Mr. English as a second language. Through a string of sentence fragments, it's revealed that no one has lived in apartment 214 for years, and every time the landlord brings people in to look around, they're scared off for one reason or another. So as time passes, Stacy begins to accept that Madeline is gone and is never coming back. She'll just have to live with the guilt of being so rude and blowing her off. Until one random night when Stacy is left unsupervised does Madeline finally come a-knockin'. Or maybe not. So Stacy decides to check it out. Luckily, no doors are ever really locked in Canada, so she walks right into 214. Where she finds one of Madeline's perpetually eerie paintings. Then she skadoos right into it, just like Steve from Blue's Clues, only to find all the furniture back in place and Madeline waiting for a jump scare. Turns out that the day in question was the 10th anniversary of the day she died. So Stacy flees to the higher ground known as her apartment because Madeline can come and go as she pleases, but fortunately can't pass through doors. Actually, Madeline can appear anywhere she wants around the apartment except inside it. Then Madeline slides a note under the door, but I'm more surprised by how nice her penmanship is considering she's been dead for 10 years. Left with no other alternative, Stacy runs to her friend Angela's apartment down the hall and pounds on the door until...
blackout!
Then Stacy's dog is compelled by an unseen force to enter Madeline's home, thus forcing her to follow. All of the furniture is still intact and Madeline is nowhere to be found, but she's still present. Stacy finds the dog hiding in the closet and, all gay jokes aside, is happy that her little friend is safe. Suddenly, Madeline appears in a jealous and neglected rage, but Stacy explains the whole mishap with the concert and says that all that she ever really wanted was to make a friend. This hits Madeline right in the feels, so she instantly calms down and apologizes. She says that she's much too set in her ways to move on to the afterlife, so she's kinda stuck in limbo, forever fearing the day when someone finally moves in and she's driven out. So quick-thinking Stacy devises a plan to convince her mom to move into apartment 214. I mean, it's a 2-bedroom with a ridiculously low price, so it's a win-win situation. So now Stacy, her mom, and Madeline, the potentially hostile ghost, live together, which raises some concern about what will happen when Stacy grows up and moves on with her life like kids usually do. But I guess they'll have 5 or 6 good years until that happens, and they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. But this was a memorable episode that really resonates more with me now that I'm older. It taps into that fear that a lot of people have about the death of loved ones and never getting to say what needed to be said. But as Mike and the Mechanics put it so eloquently in their song The Living Years, say it loud, say it clear. It's too late when we die to admit we don't see eye to eye, and never make promises with a vengeful ghost that you won't keep.